Who is Jazmine Tan? The social media self-proclaimed girl's girl.
Even if y'all think that I'm not a girl's girl, I know that I'm a girl's girl at heart, and that's enough for me.
And a high-value woman.
People are gonna be drawn to you like a magnet, like you've never experienced before.
Is she the bullied?
I was actually bullied in high school by the girls in my class.
Or the bully?
Girly pop. She's still in school. She's 21. Why does she look like a mother of two who responsibly files her goddamn taxes every year?
Or is she simply a loud, positive, and confident influencer giving advice online and still learning how to navigate the internet?
I'm still navigating adulthood, and I'm forever evolving. Girl, I have only just developed my frontal lobe. So, give a girl a break, you know?
I think it's time to figure out who Jazmine Tan really is. Big hacks to all my lovely subscribers. We just passed 2,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. You're the heart of this channel. If you're new, I'm Dana. Tap the subscribe button, grab some snacks, and get cozy while we unpack the internet together. Jazmine Tan started off strong. The relatable, pretty, confident girl sharing advice and positive vibes, who built a loyal fan base by being authentic, funny, and unapologetically loud. But somewhere along the way, things shifted. The content got sharper, her opinions more controversial, and the tone a little meaner.
Baby girl, I am so sorry to tell you this, but if you are still applying your blushes like this, then you are doing it wrong. If you want to look basic and two-dimensional, then sure, you do you, boo.
In the early days of her content creation, she focused on relatable topics, things many people go through growing up, like anxiety, dealing with bullies or unsupportive people, and the emotional roller coaster of catching feelings or having crushes. While she doesn't appear to come from a poor background, it seems her family is relatively well off. At just 19, she posted about taking a solo trip to Iceland. She's also made several remarks about studying abroad. As her following grew and she started receiving more attention, her confidence seemed to grow too. Over time, her content became a bit sassier. Her content also began to show a degree of hypocrisy and toxicity, especially when it came to women-men dynamics. For instance, she would often criticize men for not doing enough, for giving too little attention, or doing less than the so-called bare minimum. Yet, at the same time, she often presented being cold or emotionally detached as something empowering.
Girls go to college to get more knowledge. Boys go to Jupiter to get more stupid.
Over time, though, men and dating began to take up a bigger part of her content, and not always in the healthiest way. She would often share tips for women on how to be treated like a queen, how to embody a high-value woman, and how to attract or date so-called high-value men. However, she wouldn't be really standing for treating men with the same level of respect she expects from them. She would often openly hate or mock men just for existing.
Ugly girls. What does it say?
Oh my god, we couldn't find any pins.
For ugly girls, there's no results for ugly girls. That is so
my
cool.
God.
Now open Pinterest again.
Okay.
And then search for ugly boys.
Oh my god.
There's actual results. There's actual ugly boys
actual
results.
She's also very vocal about men needing to have money and believes that men should be the ones paying for everything, giving expensive gifts and taking her to expensive places, since men have many other demands on women. She doesn't seem to approve of men having those demands, however.
Don't you think it's so cute how men want a model, a maid, a mother, and a therapist all in one? But God forbid we want a man with money? What? Who said that?
While she emphasizes not settling for the bare minimum from men, she also suggests that women shouldn't feel obliged to put effort into pleasing them. Now, don't get me wrong, it's perfectly fine to want to date providers if that's what you want. But if a man wants to provide money and luxurious lifestyle, he will naturally expect something in return.
Here's everything I prepped for my husband for the next 2 days. He wanted high protein options, so that's what we're doing today.
Jazmine's focus on girls girl content is huge. She even calls herself a girls girl in her bio, so maintaining that persona is super important for her brand. However, Jazmine seems to think that hating on men is part of being girls girl.
care. Please don't ever talk to me in a baby voice. I'm the only one in the relationship who's allowed to do it. Cause it's cute when I do it. It's not cute when you do it, buddy. It's not a good look on you.
But it's not just men Jazmine talks down to. She's also shamed a woman who didn't seem to fit her idea of how a 21-year-old should look like.
Gen Zs are aging really fast and looking way older than our actual age. Like, muka kita boros banget anjir. Like this morning, I saw this girl in my Pilates class, right? And I legit thought that she was like a mama muda that goes to Pilates class after she drops her kids to school in the morning. And today I was feeling sociable, right? So I poked her and I was like, oh my god, you awet muda banget. And she was like, what are you talking about? I'm 21.
At one point, everyone was jumping on the Gen Z is looking like milk trend on social media, and Jazmine Tan as a content creator joined it too. But her video sparked controversy because she singled out a girl she met at her Pilates class, criticizing her appearance and saying she looked old. It came off as really rude and mean-spirited, kind of giving major Regina George vibes.
I love your skirt. Where did you get it? It was my mom's in the 80s. Vintage. So adorable. Thanks. That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen.
What made it even more jarring was that this clashed with what Jazmine usually preaches about bullying being bad and promoting girls girl vibes, so for many, this felt like a disappointing contradiction. Since then, Jazmine took accountability for a lot of the criticism directed towards her in her apology video.
So come get ready with me while we catch up a little bit, shall we? Hi, I'm Jazmine. Some people call me Jazzy, and I have been a content creator for over a year now. And guess what? I am taking full responsibility for all the mistakes that I made last year. Just like you, I'm human, and I'm not perfect. And I make mistakes. Sometimes I yap a lot, and sometimes things get taken out of context, and then sometimes I say the wrong things. So I'm sorry if it offended any of my baby girlies. It was never my intention.
I think that it's great that Jazmine chose to take the criticism, admit her mistakes, and apologize, and that should be definitely applauded. However, if you watch her apology video closely, you might notice some narcissistic style behaviors. For example, narcissists often deflect or minimize responsibility. Jazmine reportedly downplayed some statements as being taken out of context or just being human. She also used typical phrases like, I'm sorry if I offended anyone, or I didn't mean it that way, which sound more like apologies for how people feel about something rather than apologies for her actions. Much of the video focuses on her personal growth, learning, and navigating adulthood, but there's less emphasis on what she actually did wrong. And this vagueness makes the apology feel a little bit uncertain, like even she isn't sure what exactly she's apologizing for. And honestly, I think that almost everyone have apologized in this sort of way at some point in their life, used phrases such as, I'm sorry if I offended anyone, or I didn't mean it that way when apologizing at some point in their life. And I don't think it always means that you are a narcissist, but it's definitely something to think about. So is Jazmine Tan the bullied or the bully?
Girl, when I scroll through Instagram and I see other girls' pretty pictures, I kept getting triggered. There was a tiny voice in my head that says, honestly, she's not even that pretty. I don't know what men see in her. Ew. And wow, that said a lot about me.
In the past, she's shared openly about being bullied in high school, even naming her bullies in one of her videos.
Okay, so I was actually bullied in high school by the girls in my class. Now, I don't want to drop any names because I'm not that petty. Bella, Jessica, Kelly, Melissa, how are y'all doing?
What made it even more striking was the infamous burn book, which was visible in the background. A nod to that movie where mean girls write nasty gossip about their classmates. Now, being bullied is truly awful and it should be talked about, but as someone once said, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And it seems a little little bit of that toxicity has rubbed off on Jazmine. We've already talked about how she sometimes bullies men for no clear reason, but this incident with the 21-year-old girl's looks wasn't the only time Jazmine shamed other women for their appearance. Even when promoting products or sharing tips, Jazmine often uses a patronizing tone. She would also compare influencers or celebrities to one another, sometimes even shaming them and the viewers for applying makeup the wrong way.
Baby girl, stop doing this if you don't want your concealer to crack or crease. Or look gray like this. Oh, no. That is not hot girl behavior.
And it's not just a one-off. Most of her videos that include tips tend to start with that patronizing or shaming tone towards her audience. She's also shamed other people for their behavior, like not being overly expressive or enthusiastic when receiving gifts.
I genuinely feel that people who underreact to receiving gifts deserves a special place in hell. I don't know if it's just me making this a bigger deal than it's supposed to be and exaggerating and just being a little cuckoo, or do other people who also have gift giving as their main love language have this specific problem and ick too. Were you raised by barbarians? Did your parents not teach you if someone does something nice to you, go the extra way? Common sense is apparently not as common as one might think.
I get it that sometimes it may come off as rude, but it's worth considering that some people are naturally more reserved or shy, and a simple thank you sometimes might be their genuine way of showing appreciation. Being quiet or low-key doesn't mean they don't value the gifts they receive. Now talking about not appreciating gifts, Jazmine spoke about her 2-year relationship where she said she was love-bombed and completely blindsided, all because her partner took her to a hotpot place on Valentine's Day.
So I was in a 2-year relationship and baby, I got love bombed. Week 2 of dating, this man flew me to Perth, bought me a golf set, diamonds, flowers every single week without fail. And I was like, oh my god, finally a man who's within my league. A man who finally understands the vibe. Hey, he a man. But then the plot fizzled because the effort started going 2 years later on Valentine's Day, this man did not plan a single thing. He had the audacity to just take me to a random hot place. I literally sat there and looked at him dead in the eyes and was like, boy, is this a prank show? Be for real, babes. Where are the cameras? See, I am absolutely aware of what I bring to the table, and I'm absolutely disgusted by lack of effort and inconsistency. So yes, I ended it on February 14th.
Personally, I don't see anything wrong with going to a hotpot place, and I'm not sure if it counts as love bombing. By definition, love bombing involves overwhelming someone with attention and gifts, then pulling away suddenly. I don't see that here. It seems like he simply chose to celebrate their second Valentine's Day in more low-key way, still taking the time to plan the date. Of course, based on her past videos, maybe during their 2-year together, he was hot and cold, giving lots of love and gifts at first, then ghosting or ignoring her.
If you think you're getting love bombed, wait and see how they treat you after 3 months of dating. Cause not gonna lie, some men should win an Oscar for the act and performance they put on in the first 3 months of dating. It's like they give you a free trial, pamper you, spoil you, wanna meet you every day. And then once you start thinking he might be the one, and you signed up for the subscription, boom, no after sale service. And by then, it's so hard to unsubscribe.
That said, breaking up with someone just because you don't like the restaurant they picked feels really shallow and ungrateful if that is the only reason they broke up. It reminds me of those TikTok videos where girls would get flowers but then film themselves acting ungrateful because the bouquet doesn't look expensive enough. It's no secret that Jazmine Tan promotes and fully believes in being a bit delusional when it comes to love and life. Because of this mindset, she often finds herself in tricky romantic situations. As she admits herself, she frequently gets love-bombed, partly because she believes men will fall for her instantly. But like any kind of delusion, it doesn't always end well. Surely it might help her grow as a content creator or maybe improve her confidence, but in relationships, this kind of mindset can lead to a lot of problems.
I am so delulu that I genuinely think that it's a perfectly normal reaction to being around me. Why wouldn't they fall in love with me within the first week of dating?
So, is Jazmine Tan in her Mean Girl era? The movie Mean Girls showed us that even those who were once bullied can quickly become bullies themselves. It seems like by trying to be more edgy and controversial, Jazmine might have found herself in that same spot. But just like the film teaches us, everyone can change, as long as they're willing to accept criticism and learn from it.
So, yeah, okay, I love you always. Bye!